segment we haven't done in a while. This date in stoner history. This date in stoner history sounds like what it is. Go back in history to a date where a momentous milestone occurred in stoner history and then tell you the story in a segment called This Date in Stoner History. So, it's a very succinct summary of how the segment came to be. One of the oldest segments in Stoner Jesus Show history goes all the way back to with Stoner Jesus pickup lines and, well, that's it. Those are the oldest ones. I'll rate the bait. We used to rate the bait back in the day. Old segments. This date in stoner history has survived. Anyway, in this date in stoner history, we're going back to 2002. It was April 20th, 2002. This dude named Larry lived in Georgia. Him and three of his buddies, their names aren't important. It doesn't matter. Larry's name is barely important, but he was the leader. So, Larry and his three buddies in Georgia. It was April 20th, 2002. Just several months, just like 7 months after 9/11. Brutal day in American history. If you don't know about 9/11, 2001, we'll go look it up. I mean, fuck. I'm not a history teacher. What I'm talking about is April 20th, 2002. Larry and his buddies, they were still pissed. They were still sad. They were still depressed. They were still, they wanted to do something. They wanted to do something to recognize what happened on 9/11. But what could they do? There were just four dudes in Georgia. But they knew in a couple weeks when all this conversation started, between the friends, that in a few weeks, 420 was coming up. They had heard about 420. They heard some, underground people were celebrating it. It was cool. It was about weed. And if there was one thing that Larry and his buddies loved, maybe even more than their awesome, awesome country, Go America, was weed. And they want to somehow combine the two. What could they do that could combine weed and to celebrate 9/11 as an event? Well, that's when Larry got the idea for the Twin Tower joints. That's right. The Twin Tower joints. Two joints that look like the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers. They would be side by side, the Twin Tower joints. Now, this effort was going to take a lot of engineering. There was a lot of designing involved. Larry and his friends really got into this shit. Design these two towers. And of course, they had to decide, well, how are you going to smoke two towers? We can't really smoke two towers because they're vertical. They're not horizontal. They're vertical. So how are they going to do it? Of course, they decided on the hot box. They would do it in Larry's garage. Inside Larry's garage, the hot box, the two Twin Tower joints. Now, how were you going to set them on fire? Well, how else would you set the Twin Tower joints on fire but taking little paper airplanes and lighting them on fire and throwing them into the buildings? Sorry, the joints. You throw enough of these flaming planes into the Twin Tower joints and they will light on fire, they will burn, they will fill the garage, and they will hotbox the garage with the Twin Tower joints. And that's what they did. For weeks, they built these two massive square joints on like a plywood base, full of weed, massive. If you're watching the video, you see my hands. Probably gives you absolutely no idea of the size. I don't know how much, because my hands are much closer to the camera. My face, like this, like this, big. They were big. They were big like the Twin Towers. On 4/20/2002, him and his friends started lighting paper airplanes on fire and throwing them into the Twin Tower joints until the Twin Tower joints lit aflame and filled the garage with the sweet, sweet healing smoke of Mary Jane. Larry and his friends, through all their hard work, they set a stoner milestone, and that's why they're part of this day in stoner history. They celebrated the wondrousness of America by building Twin Tower joints and lighting them on fire with little flaming paper airplanes. And Larry and his friends proved something else that day. They proved that the destruction of the Twin Tower joints was indeed an inside job. Thank you. Thank you. I know you're out there cheering for me. You may be saying, hey, that was a long way to go for that joke. Well, you're probably right. But I think the trip was worth it. Besides, it's a good story. Larry and his friends, they were great.